how to allocate time for an empty nest couple's relationship, and how to enjoy being alone while also having fun. Useful play for couples during the empty nest period. Only by learning to buy your own time can you give the other person new energy. The central question in an empty nest partnership is, how should personal development be integrated into the relationship? What interests and abilities does the individual want to develop? How do you continue to create intimacy in your relationship? How can the above be integrated until both parties are satisfied? The empty nest period also pushes people toward personality development. After Sadie and Sean's youngest child left home to go to college, Sadie was itching to pursue an active creative career. She wanted to immerse herself in the studio, focus on creating art, and stop being a housekeeper. She wanted the freedom to work all night without having to go home for dinner or worry about cooking dinner at night. One day she went out early in the morning and didn't come home until very late, and turned off her phone in the meantime. Sean had already turned off the lights and went to bed, and heard her ring the doorbell at 10:45 in the night. She had forgotten her keys countless times. He didn't want to say a word to her. The two came to me after that. She disappeared like this for a whole day. Sean raised his eyebrows exaggeratedly, with a look of disbelief on his face. The 59-year-old is the director of a non-profit organization and a devoted family man, but he gets impatient easily. He seemed to want to criticize her overall judgment. I really should have called or left a note first, and I'm sorry about that, Sadie said. But you know I'm in the studio, and you know I forget myself when I'm creating. Sadie's tone was charming, gentle, yet sharp and firm in his gaze. Sean yelled back, giving a dozen reasons why he should be the center of Sadie's attention. Over the years, he has supported the family vigorously and has no time to develop hobbies. Easily forgetting to change diapers, make love, and cook dinner are not Sadie's hobbies. He ignored the many sacrifices and adjustments his wife had made to allow him to work peacefully on his career, and used his hard work mentality as an excuse to demand that his wife should continue to be by his side. He tried his best to be reasonable, but I felt like he was justifying his unwillingness to change. He sticks to his old routine and rules, which, while conducive to responsible adults, also create a huge comfort zone. I think he should follow his wife's example instead of insisting that she live according to his. Did Sadie neglect her husband? Does she want to escape the emptiness that echoes in her family or marriage? No, she is developing a hobby, and she finally has more free time to devote herself to it. 1. How to manage your relationship during the empty nest period. How to respect your partner's need for alone time. Sean and Sadie's dilemma touches on a central question of the empty nest period. How should personal development be integrated into a relationship? What interests and abilities does the individual want to develop? How do you continue to create intimacy in your relationship? How can the above be integrated until both parties are satisfied? Sean and Sadie's situation reminds me of one of the characteristics of a happy childhood. The reason why children can immerse themselves in playing with Legos or dolls is because they feel safe and know that there are people behind you who love you and will take care of you. After being married for such a long time, shouldn't we provide similar opportunities for our other half to play games with peace of mind? Psychoanalyst Winnicott was the most insightful commentator on games in the 20th century. He believes that people live in 3 worlds at the same time: the inner subjective world, the external reality world, and the third transitional space where people temporarily put aside the question of whether things are true or false. Games are transitional spaces. He invented the term transitional object to refer to some things in life, such as a child's teddy bear, that exist in a zone where falseness and realness are unresolved. Winnicott believed that people will retain the experience of transitional space throughout their lives through strong feelings generated by art, religion, fantasy life, and even innovative scientific research. According to Winnicott, this strong feeling starts with trust. Relaxation is a prerequisite for creative play. In childhood, we experience freedom and relaxation for the first time in the company of a trusted person. Paradoxically, we can experience the joy of being alone because we trust the person we depend on. We believe that the other person is always standing behind us. Even if we forget her for a moment, she will still be there. In a partnership, allowing each other to be alone means allowing each other opportunities to explore, have interests, and play. One party can put themselves in the other person's shoes through empathy and imagination, and mutually affirm my partner needs to do this in order to be himself. We can also tolerate the idea that you will forget me and forget that I am alive for a certain period of time. Accept, support, and respect each other. At the same time, the two people also have a common understanding. I need you to come back. Remember that I am still alive. And there is something I need you for. In a good enough relationship, we will constantly correct and adjust the relationship between distance and intimacy. The elasticity is sometimes tight and sometimes loose, but the accumulated sense of security allows each other to pursue the experience of loneliness and selflessness. 2. Fight for your own time to avoid resentment in the future. A devout Baptist, Anna grew up in a conservative community and married young. Despite their traditional backgrounds, she and her husband have always agreed to give each other space to pursue their own interests. I think the most difficult thing to negotiate in marriage is your own time, she said. I think both people need to stand up and fight for it. There may be a struggle at first, but in the future we won't blame each other. After her youngest child left home, Anna took up African drumming. I don't want to just watch others learn. I also want to learn, she said. Beginners have a kind of excitement that only beginners have. It's really great that the brain can learn new things. I can hear the rhythm everywhere now. Even when I'm buying groceries in the supermarket, I actually listen to new sounds, which makes me excited. Drumming is a group activity. Our teacher said that in a drum course, the drummer's heartbeats will gradually synchronize. Whether that's a metaphor or not, I feel very happy. Drumming is her personal interest and her husband is not involved, but he can accept and tolerate being an outsider, does not alienate or interfere with it, and is willing to affirm the significance of this matter to his wife. Last year for Christmas, my husband bought me a pink African drum. It was very beautiful, she said. It was much prettier than the one I bought on Amazon. It means a lot to me. A paper studying empty nest couples found that some people find it difficult to feel guilty about spending time pursuing personal interests when they should be spending more time with their partner. Interestingly, however, the average person's guilt stems more from subjective concerns about their partner's disapproval than from their partner's actual interference in pursuing their personal goals. As we get older, we begin to understand what we want, and this needs to be shared with each other through dialogue rather than hidden behind fear and projection. Anna and her husband shared an understanding of each other's high regard for personal pursuits, while Sean and Sadie were in conflict, which is why they ended up in my clinic. They must think about what modifications and adjustments they prefer at this stage of their lives. But while their current communication is a mess, the couple will eventually benefit from Sadie's faith. Sometimes in a marriage, one partner vigorously advocates the importance of personal interests, even if it attracts temporary protests. It is better than suppressing individuality, damaging the relationship, and is not a long-term relationship. 3. Regain the humor and playfulness, explore together, and the relationship will heat up. Not all play can only be done alone. Play is also something that couples can do together. Sean and Sadie, like many couples, have lost some of their light-hearted fun over the years. As we talked, I couldn't help but think about how important the feeling of free play is, and how easily it fades away. Being able to see each other's playfulness, an effective way for partners to connect emotionally. I looked through the home videos I had taken before, one man said to me, and found a video of my wife flying a kite with her son. The two of them looked very involved and laughed together. I showed the video to my wife. Not only do I want her to feel happy when she thinks about the past, but I also want to tell her, I remember your funny side. Even if the reality is difficult and harsh, the harsher life is, the more humor is the light of salvation. A friend said that she and her husband relied on black humor to survive the divorce. The two agreed that they could not separate because neither one wanted custody of the children. Problems and prejudices, losses and disappointments always occupy our minds so easily. If we insist on not relaxing, we will only increase the pain. Couples who enjoy each other's company may feel like they were back together after the children leave home, and sex may become a more important part of the game. One of the benefits of the empty nest period is more privacy, more freedom, and more fun. No one will hear or disturb the private activities between the couple. There is no need to worry about someone suddenly walking into the room in the middle of the night. And there is no need to worry about pregnancy. However, for couples whose alienation pattern has been established, the situation they face after their children leave home is like an unknown abyss. At this time, it is too easy to get hurt by engaging in sex immediately, and it may not be an effective way to regain intimacy. There are thus ways to play, and travel is an important part of this stage of life, but any game that can be played together, including music, sports, art, humor, etc., can infuse shared fun. Social psychologists point out that when couples participate in novel and exciting activities together, relationship satisfaction will also increase. 4. Enjoying solitude together is actually a higher state. We generally don't think of the experience of being in a long-term relationship, such as being married for 15 years or raising adolescent children together, as a novelty. But the academics' findings aren't about extreme sports or expensive adventures, but about situations that encourage self-expansion. New relationships are exciting because of the frequent and passionate conversations, the need for self-disclosure, and the need to take risks. The problem in a long-term, stable relationship is not that these conversations don't happen, but that they don't happen anymore. In fact, conversations that include genuine vulnerability and self-disclosure can foster excitement and positive feelings at any stage of a relationship. The passage of time alone can give us many novel feelings, and our positions and perspectives continue to change throughout life. The question is, do you have the ability to feel this new side of yourself and communicate it to your significant other? You'd be surprised how many people can't do this, no matter how many times they've mustered up the courage to go rafting or hike in the mountains of Nepal. Whether they are thrill seekers or homebodies, many people actually avoid opening their minds to new things. They will fill their minds with distracting things, or hold on to old pain, without the ability to play, or unwilling to play. In fact, it doesn't have to be something as dramatic as having a self-revealing conversation to satisfy the fun between partners. Winnicott wrote, "The ability to enjoy solitude in the company of another person is a healthy feeling." Younger people often feel that nothing can compare with an old couple talking to each other in a restaurant. Horrible. Imagine that is a terrible scene on the road to loneliness, decay, and death. But if the scene is explored from Winnicott's point of view, the meaning may be different. Being able to enjoy solitude together means having confidence in the presence of the other half and the ability to be alone. Relationships don't necessarily have to swing between excitement, desire, and boredom and alienation. It's also possible to stay in the middle ground and be in a state of trust together. We expect that the relationship will be filled with desire, excitement, and initiative, so that we can really play or relax, and have the courage to let things happen our own way and at our own pace.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.